From MTN News, you're watching Montana This Morning.
As Montana sets a new daily record for COVID-19 cases, some Republicans in the legislature want to do away with the governor's coronavirus safety orders. Coming up, how that is happening.
The Gallatin City County Health Department is reporting the number of cases of COVID-19 associated with Montana State University. I'm Gabby Crevitt, and I'll have that story coming up.
It is 6:30 on this Friday. Chet Lehman, Matt Elwell with you here. Smoke continues to roll into the building and down the street. And yeah, but maybe a breath of fresh air headed our way by early next week.
Yeah, figuratively and literally. We do have slightly better air quality this morning, certainly than what we had yesterday. And the new system moving in may actually sweep it away for a short time as well.
We'll take it.
Certainly by Sunday, Monday, it looks like things are going to improve. Kind of tough to say definitively on how that's going to look in our skies. But we do have air quality alerts until further notice across western and southern Montana. Temperatures into the 40s. Pleasant morning. The afternoon topping out into the 80s for the afternoon. Strongest winds are going to be off to the west, and because of that, we do have red flag warnings. I'm going to break down what you can expect, including some fresh air, as Chet had mentioned, and rain. That's all coming up in just a few minutes.
All right, we'll breathe deeply. Thanks, Matt. 6:31. 2 more people have died of COVID-19 related complications in Montana. Both the deaths in Yellowstone County. One a woman in her 30s, the other a man in his 80s. Both passed away in a hospital. Statewide, 144 people have now died since the pandemic started in March. State seeing a record number of new COVID-19 cases being reported yesterday, 217. Now more than 2,000 cases are listed as active. County by county, Montana response team data shows Gallatin County added 14 yesterday, 47 still active. Silver Bow County added 11, 62 active there. You can see the numbers for other surrounding counties there on your screen as well. Well, Republican state lawmakers convened an unusual committee meeting yesterday on legislative rules, but it became much more than that. Democratic legislators boycotted the meeting and called it an illegal attempt to undo Governor Steve Bullock's emergency orders dealing with the COVID-19 pandemic. MTN chief political reporter Mike Dennison has more.
Majority Republicans arranged a meeting at the Capitol of the Joint Rules Committee for the legislature. They considered several changes in legislative rules, including one allowing all lawmakers to be polled without being in session on whether to pass a so-called proclamation. Democratic members of the committee spoke with reporters beforehand and said this proclamation would be a way to end Governor Bullock's emergency orders on the coronavirus pandemic.
They're looking to change the rules for them to be able to pass a joint resolution without any committee hearings, without any public input, so that they can tear down the emergency order that is keeping people safe and healthy and protecting our economy.
He and other Democratic members said they would not be attending the meeting because it's barred by law, and that the party would file suit to block any action by Republicans on the panel. At the meeting, GOP members didn't officially pass anything. Instead, they agreed that 4 proposed rule changes, including the proclamation one, should be sent to all other lawmakers and the public for comment. Then the panel would meet again next week and decide whether to act on them. Schreiner called the move a brazen partisan power grab and suggested Republicans are trying to undo Bullock's order allowing counties to go to all-mail ballots for the November 3rd election. Republican legislative leaders, however, said that's not the case. House Speaker Greg Hertz of Polson did say, however, that some Republican lawmakers would like to consider ways to end the governor's order at some time and start allowing schools, local governments, and businesses to set their own policies for dealing with the pandemic. Reporting from Helena, Mike Dennison, MTN News.
Mike tells us the other rule changes deal with whether lawmakers can take part in a session virtually or in person and vote on certain interim committee actions. Closer to home, Montana Tech in Butte has 34 positive cases of COVID-19, according to the Department of Public Health and Human Services. Butte University has 33 students, 1 staff member who tested positive. Montana Tech's Chancellor Les Cook recently sent an email to all students and staff warning about reports of students attending large off-campus gatherings without wearing masks and risk spreading the virus. Montana Tech has an enrollment of about 1,500 students. Well, for the first time, we're getting a glimpse at the number of COVID cases at Montana State University. MTN's Gabby Crevitt reports Gallatin County will report new numbers later today.
Mid-September means classes are in full swing at Montana State University. And this fall, the Gallatin City County Health Department will be reporting on a weekly basis the number of COVID-19 cases associated with the university.
I think there might be a misperception that somehow there's this parallel system that MSU is testing and running its tests and doing contact tracing separate from what the health department is doing. That's not the case.
The Gallatin City County Health Department and Montana State University want to make a few things clear. First, the county is dealing with MSU cases exactly the same way as other cases across the area.
Regardless of where they're tested, their test results go to the same sorts of places that anybody else's test results go.
So the Gallatin City County Health Department is releasing the number of COVID-19 cases associated with the university on a weekly surveillance report.
That includes all the cases that are being reported to the health department at Montana State. And it breaks them down by the number of cases that are active, the number that are recovered, and the number of new cases we've had since the last reporting period.
Last week it reported 3 active cases at MSU, which are encouraging numbers, and we're happy to see them that low.
And while the numbers appear to be low as of last week, the health department says there are lots of variables in trying to assess the situation at MSU.
How many people have mild symptoms or no symptoms that are walking around that might be carrying the disease? Because they're not likely to get tested and they're not likely to come up as a positive case. And so that is a limitation. That's a limitation nationally, and that's part of what makes this virus so difficult to deal with.
And MTN News will be reporting on those numbers as they become available. Reporting in Bozeman, Gabby Crevitt, MTN News.
Again, those numbers should be coming out later today. Also, used car market hot right now. Pandemic driving demand and prices up. Haggling for a lower cost is becoming, well, a thing of the past. Car expert we talked to says salespeople aren't budging on the sticker price because they know someone else will come quickly and buy the car. So you have to negotiate in other areas and do your research ahead of time.
We think it has too many miles, it's too old, it's 10, 15 years old. Somebody out there wants it, whether or not it's an online offer. Go find out what it's worth, get the online appraisal, get some online offers, take it to a dealership, take it to a CarMax. But you gotta find out what your car is worth.
When I was ready to make the trade-in, they lowballed the offer, and it was probably about 25% of what I knew the car was worth. And so that was actually where I employed a little bit more of my negotiating, and I kept pushing until I ended up getting the total value of the trade-in based on the research that I'd done.
Now he says the dealership offered him 3 potential car payments without disclosing the interest rate and before doing a credit check. If you have a car to trade in, that's another way to save right now.
You're looking to finance a vehicle, especially with a dealership, you absolutely have to run your credit score and know what interest rates you qualify for before you go there, because they're going to offer you an interest rate that's probably more so to their advantage.
Another place they both say you can save is by not automatically agreeing to that extended warranty or service plan. Do your research ahead of time on these two. You should also negotiate, especially if you get to know you can get the same service for cheaper somewhere else. If you don't need to buy right now, experts we spoke with say expect used car prices to start going down in another month or 2. It's typical for the end of the year. Also, new cars are starting to come out, and again, that puts pressure on used car shopping. All good advice there right now. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, Hershey's Candy wants to save Halloween. Think the company has a vested interest? Of course it does. Coming up, find out what Hershey is doing to make the holidays safe. But first, here's what's happening at 7 o'clock on CBS This Morning.
Good morning. Ahead on CBS This Morning, Americans are growing further apart politically, but just how differently do they see the world? We're going to test America's political polarization. Also, only on CBS This Morning, we go inside the National Museum of African American History and Culture, which reopens today. See what safety precautions it will be taking, and also what will be on display. Very important. Also, actress Sarah Paulson joins us to talk about her new series, Ratchet, based on the notorious head nurse from One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. One of the scariest characters of all time, I'm told. I'll have to review the film soon. We'll see you at 7.